Someday, in the not-so-distant future, it happens. The moment you realize you're ready for anything. Get a degree in emergency management from Jacksonville State University and be ready for where you're going.
This is the morning edition of the Weather Xtreme video. This is for Wednesday, the 18th of December. I'm James Spann. Weather a little cooler today. The sky will stay sunny. Moisture comes back late this week, and of course, the big question involves the potential of strong storms over the weekend. Will they be severe? When will they happen? And what about Christmas week next week? Lots of things to talk about this morning, so let's go in there and take a look at the big picture. This is the satellite view. That clipper that passed north of the state is moving off the upper Atlantic coast this morning, and in the wake of that, the air is going to be a little cooler today. We're starting off the day mostly in the upper 20s and low 30s at daybreak. The cold spot there is Haleyville. They've got 26. Birmingham sitting at 31. The high today should be in the mid-50s. You know, we saw 60s yesterday. And around the nation, you can see that colder air in the upper Midwest in the wake of the clipper. But after today, the warming process resumes, and we could be flirting with record highs by the time the weekend gets here. This is the watch warning map around the nation. Not too much happening. Some fog along the coast of Texas and Louisiana. Some winter weather issues out in the western states. But this, of course, is what we're paying attention to. This is the day 4 through 8 convective outlook from the Storm Prediction Center. And the guys have highlighted a risk for day 4, and that's Saturday, from Texas up through much of Arkansas, North Louisiana, Northwest Mississippi, up into West Tennessee and the western tip of Kentucky, and also Southeast Missouri and the southern tip of Illinois. And that's where we could see severe weather Saturday. Storms could pack damaging straight-line winds. There could be a tornado or two in there. There is no formal risk for Alabama on Sunday. Let's make that perfectly clear. You see a lot of these doomsday, statements on some of these blogs and things, which is, somewhat insane. Could there be severe weather Sunday? Absolutely. But at this point, the guys at SPC have opted not to include Alabama in a risk because there remain questions about the timing and the modes, but just something we'll talk about as we go along here. Here's the rain over the next 5 days. This is valid through Monday morning. The really big rains north of here around Alabama is suggesting rain amounts of about 1 inch over the weekend. That would not be enough to cause any flooding problems. Let's go in there and take a look, and we'll get very specific with all the details. This is the GFS, the Global Forecast System, valid at 12 noon today. This is the 06Z run. Got the clipper-type system that's off the upper Atlantic coast. We got a northwest flow aloft, and down below that, a surface high right on top of us. So hardly any wind at all today, and the high should be in the mid-50s, around 55. Great day. All right, this is tomorrow. The morning will be cold. We'll be down around the freezing mark, but we'll start to warm up with a high in the low 60s. The sky will stay sunny, and this is Friday. And as we've talked about, the key to the weekend is the upper low that is sitting over the northern Gulf of California. And, in that position, it's not in the American upper air network, and really until it begins to lift out as a wave into Texas, there's going to be some questions involving this thing. But down below that, the surface on Friday, moisture begins to return, and there could be a few scattered showers Friday afternoon, but nothing widespread. The sky probably mostly cloudy on Friday, maybe a few peaks of sun, and the high will be in the mid to upper 60s as the warming trend begins. This is Saturday as we kick off the weekend. The upper low begins to lift into West Texas as a wave, and down below that, a surface low develops over parts of central Texas in response to that, and there should be a warm front north of Alabama. I'm not so sure it rains a lot Saturday. Could there be showers around? Yes. But the organized rain is going to be along and north of the warm front, where soaking rains are likely around Little Rock and St. Louis and Evansville, Indiana, and places like that. The day here should be warm. The GFS is showing a high of 74. If we hit that, that will beat the old record of 73, set way back in 1923. And off to the east, no rain at all. The ridge is keeping Georgia and the Carolinas warm and dry on Saturday. And again, how far that ridge extends in here, kind of questionable. So we'll mention a chance of showers Saturday, but I really think a pretty decent part of that day could be dry. Now, this is Saturday night at midnight, a 998 millibar low near Little Rock, Arkansas. And again, the model's still showing the bulk of the active weather west of the state Saturday night over Memphis and the Mississippi Delta and places like this. So in terms of, the organized thunderstorm round with this thing, it looks like it's going to be probably Sunday morning. This is Sunday at noon. The surface low is north of Cincinnati with a trailing band of showers and thunderstorms down through here. And, of course, at that point, the storm mode should be linear, a line of storms. We'll check the European. This is Sunday evening at 6 o'clock, and there's better agreement. It remains a little slower, but we're clearly seeing now that the main action will be at some point Sunday, maybe Sunday morning, midday Sunday, something like that. Which will help us in the forecast process now that the model agreement is a little better. So severe weather Saturday, no. In fact, again, I don't think it rains that much on Saturday, but Sunday's going to be your active day. And again, maybe early Sunday morning or maybe a little later in the morning up into the midday hours. Severe weather parameters, this is the instability, the surface-based CAPE at 6 a.m. Sunday. And the values are not all that high, and you rarely see high CAPEs in, the cold season here. The higher CAPE, 750 joules per kilogram or higher down around Mobile. The numbers up this way are closer to 250 to 500 joules. This is at daybreak Sunday. And again, hopefully that will help to mitigate the severe weather threat to some degree, the fact that it might be an early morning type event. But the wind fields are very impressive. This is the wind fields, the low-level jet at 5,000 feet, 850 millibars. And that's showing 70-knot winds over North Alabama. Very powerful. And again, I get the idea that we'll have a line of storms that will be very windy coming through Sunday morning. And that line of storms could easily blow down trees and power lines. Sunday morning is a time where a lot of folks are in church and they're not necessarily plugged into the weather. This is the bulk shear down in the lower levels between the surface and 925 millibars. And certainly there's an adequate amount of shear there for some rotation. And I get the idea, and the SPC indicated this in their discussion. I think they're right. The primary mode is going to be linear, a line of storms, which tends to reduce the tornado threat, but certainly with values like that within the squall line or the QLCS, there could be a few embedded small tornadoes, so something that we'll have to watch for. This is the 500 millibar flow Sunday morning at 6 o'clock, and really the trough is more positive tilt, which is a good thing. Again, that would perhaps reduce the tornado threat to some degree. And this is the sounding Sunday morning at 6 o'clock, and there's a little backing of the low-level winds, but not a whole lot there. So bottom line is Sunday's going to be the active day. I get the idea it might be Sunday morning. I think the main mode will be linear, a line of storms. And the main threat would be from strong straight-line winds within that line, maybe enough to knock down trees and power lines, but there could be a few maybe embedded smaller tornadoes within that line. So very active weather, likely Sunday, especially Sunday morning. Now, Monday, it's all gone. We have colder air dropping in. Highs will drop probably into the low 50s with a pretty good north breeze. The sky becoming mostly sunny. This is Tuesday, Christmas Eve. Dry and very seasonal. Highs in the lower 50s, lows in the lower 30s. And this is Christmas Day, same thing. 50s and 30s. That is exactly where we should be based on statistical averages for late December in Alabama. No snow, no storms, no rain. Blue sky and sunshine, and again, temperatures right where they should be. And much of the country very quiet. It looks like on this run, if you want snow, Nebraska might be your state there. All right, let's go out there a little deeper into the period. This is December 30th. Ooh, surface low over southwest Alabama, wet and stormy. And this is New Year's Day, and if that's right, that'll be a nasty storm for the northeast United States with a lot of wind, rain, and snow. But this is absolute speculation out here. If you're traveling up there for New Year's Eve and all that stuff in Times Square, don't take this to the bank. This will change. And the end of the forecast, the 2nd of January, 2014. Again, the flow is not especially high amplitude over the country, and down below that, the air here would be just cool and dry with 50s and 30s, and again, that's what you expect for early January. That's it for the Weather Xtreme video today. We'll have notes in the blog. Next video here by 4 o'clock today. If you can, catch us on ABC 3340 News this evening, on the live stream of the television side at 4, 5, 6, and 10. Thanks a lot for watching. Have a wonderful day, and God bless.